Are we ready?
Recording. I think so.
Wait
Tommy's
for you to
eating.
finish your Cheez-Its.
I didn't have a meltdown this time setting this up.
Why was that, you think?
Just, as we get doing more of these, it'll go smoother. I got my Sunny D and Cheez-Its. Ready to go.
You're not hangry.
We have not talked at all
It's
today.
quite the combination.
How's everybody doing today?
Doing okay.
Fantastic.
Woke up a little late. Watched Cletus's new video with Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the Dale truck. It's pretty badass.
It is pretty badass.
That's probably bridging that gap is pretty cool, because like NASCAR people and drag racing people, they don't really mix. So to like take him from that and go to our world, it's really neat to see it. It was neat to see his reaction in the car, because he was actually scared the first pass, and to us we're like, this guy goes 200 all the time, like how is he scared? But like the acceleration factor is something that he doesn't get. That 0 to 140 is pretty neat to see somebody's reaction that's never done that, but is in motorsports, that's done crazy stuff. So you guys probably haven't watched it yet, but I watched it this morning. It was
I just
really
started
cool.
watching it. It's crazy, it's so cool he gets to do stuff like that, like making dreams come true almost. Like, I don't know, he just has that, his size is what he's able to do stuff like that. Hopefully one day we can do crazy stuff like that and make some of our ideas come to fruition.
If we can't, that's still cool to see somebody else be able to do it.
Yeah.
You know, that's like stuff that you never dream imaginable or dream possible. We just got back from Texas, so that was a long trip.
Felt like a month.
When we went down, we went through Memphis and Arkansas, and I thought we were going to lose the trailer. We almost did.
You almost did.
We almost did. We're not going to go there. That is some rough roads down around Memphis.
It's like it's a lose-lose situation, because you try and dodge Arkansas and Memphis, but then do you have to go back through Indiana if you go the other way, or do you?
So when we came home, we went through St. Louis, we went through Indianapolis,
Oh,
and I figured maybe it would be better than Memphis, but it wasn't.
Honestly, I didn't think the way home was that bad compared to the way down there.
Did you guys go
We went
Memphis?
Memphis to,
Okay.
yeah, through Arkansas and Memphis.
Yeah.
It really wasn't that bad on the way back. A little bad in Memphis, but not like, you're going to lose your trailer.
Oklahoma.
Not some place you want to break down either.
No,
Memphis.
definitely not.
I don't know what's worse, driving that way or going through Indianapolis. It's all bad.
Yeah.
Just a lose-lose.
Oklahoma's like, when you go in from Texas to Oklahoma, like we got on that stretch and we were like, why is this so rough? Out of nowhere, like
Yeah.
we went from good roads in Texas to all of a sudden Oklahoma's like, well, we should just went the way home that we originally were going to.
I thought Texas was rough, and then we got to Oklahoma and it was better.
It doesn't help that you guys are driving a moving house that squeaks like you have hamsters living in your walls.
Yeah, don't. If you're ever thinking about getting a Jayco motorhome, just don't. They're built very, very cheaply. I mean, they look nice from the outside, but man,
Our roof was caving in the whole way down and the whole way back home.
thing's got like 11,000 miles on it. It's just falling apart. You'll just be driving along and a screw will hit you in the head.
Yeah, we had self-tap screws just falling out of the ceiling. It was great.
Hell yeah.
It was great.
That's what you get when you spend $230,000 on a motorhome. Self-tappers hitting you in the head going down the road.
I got to visit,
And then your leveling system beeps every 2 seconds. And you got to reset it.
and then every like 6 months you got the DPF filter or whatever.
Yeah, it
problem.
doesn't regen itself. We don't know what switches on the dashes actually work. We're not sure if the exhaust brake works. We're not ever sure if the regen switch works. It's
Keeps
just a
it
bad
exciting.
deal. Just a bad deal.
I got to sit in Charlie Brown's or Jason's motorhome. They got like a older one. Like I feel like the older ones, like the 2000s and 90s, like yeah, they're inside. They look like it's like wood panel everywhere, and it looks super like grandma's house inside. But like I swear they're the most reliable. They're more reliable than the new stuff, just because there's less.
Well, I bet they last longer, and they'll not fall apart.
Yeah.
You know, they all squeak and stuff like that, but ours is especially squeaky. I'll put in a clip. It's pretty
A
bad.
bunch of gerbils in the walls. or
It's so
something.
bad, man.
It's like it's the best way I can describe it is if you're downstairs and you got two people fucking upstairs in a noisy bed. That's exactly what we heard every trip we go.
Unless we get to a really smooth road,
Yes.
and then it stops. But it has to be really smooth. Really smooth.
I'm
But
sorry
we-
I cussed.
okay.
I'm sorry. I'm
It's all
sorry.
right.
Somebody's probably gonna be like, "Oh my gosh."
So YouTube allows you to cuss in the first 5 minutes or so. After that, smooth sailing. So I think we've been going 8 minutes. So you're good.
We
great.
we got to Yellow Belly on Wednesday, I believe. We left on Tuesday. We stopped one time on the way down, rested a little bit. When we got to the dyno for the Camaro, we stopped there and rested in the parking lot. Yeah, we got there on Wednesday late, like 1 or 2 in the morning, and when we got there, I knew this time was going to be a little bit different because Jimmy Dale had said that they prepped the track on the top side and it was pretty sticky. So this wasn't going to be our normal Yellow Belly no prep surface that we're used to. So everybody out there was setting personal bests all weekend, and some of that is just people are getting faster, and some of that I think was the top end was a little stickier than normal. But
Yeah, it was kind of funny. So Thursday testing, Ryan Mitchell didn't make it Thursday to test, which I was surprised by. But he showed up Friday for Gangster Cup, and I saw him in the staging lanes, and I always love talking to him. So I came up and said hi, and I was like, yeah, it's a little different this year. They prepped the finish line. He said, they did what now? I said, yeah, they glued it yesterday. It was really fast last night. And he said, I'm gonna go. I gotta go. I'm gonna go. Like he's 4 pairs back. He's like turning his shit up. Like that information meant a lot to him,
and
but
it-
he didn't
and it
know.
went.
Yeah, it went.
Yeah. So definitely different this time compared to years past. I think the last time I had been to Yellow Belly, the Nova had only been going like 5.0s, 4.90s, and then this time it was 2.3 faster. And I have done some improvements to the car, obviously, and it's gotten faster on its own. But there was cars out there going really, really fast.
Well, like the rumor is that last year or the first 2 years, 480s and 470s will win.
I
But-
heard 460s was the track record until this
Yes.
past event.
Yes.
And then now it's 440, like low 440 at 180 plus.
I've heard all kinds of things, but yeah, it's about right.
Somebody said 30s, but
I don't see how you get stopped if you go that fast. It doesn't even make sense.
well, that Studebaker, I'm pretty sure he has the record on big tires and small tires now.
That's what I've heard.
It's pretty incredible. A lot of people have been stirred up saying that car shouldn't be allowed. What's your opinions on that specific car and small tire?
You go first, Allison. Because again, you get to watch all the races because you're up there filming on the starting line every weekend. So
After this weekend, I've changed my entire perspective. I think small tire is what it is now, and the focus should now be on true street classes, daily driver classes, maybe a slower small tire class, but
for people
you're
like
not.
us,
It's just you're not going to slow it down. People are already building cars for it.
yeah.
It is what it is at this point. So
Yeah, you're not just like people. The thing I've seen on Facebook this week is, everybody's talking about, but chassis cars shouldn't be in small tire. I'm like, it's been like this for like 2 years, 3 years. Like,
It's not necessarily the chassis cars that's the problem at this point. At this point,
If you don't have a big block that makes 3,000 horsepower, you're not doing anything.
yeah. Yeah. At this point, is your car steel? Is it a real car? Is it a funny car? Is it a pro mod? You know, have you done body modifications to the car to make it not look like a real car anymore and perform much differently?
Are you stretching the wheelbase and
Right.
that kind of thing?
Which the Studebaker, I'm not sure if it is a stretch wheelbase. I know those Studebakers are 115, 116 inches from the factory. So that is like a perfect pro mod wheelbase. 112 to 116 is what you'd want for a car like that. If you look at a factory Studebaker like that, the front tires are damn near right at the front bumper, and the engine is set back really far compared to the front axle. That's also another great characteristic of a pro mod.
So that car, does that car have steel roof and quarters?
It does have steel roof and quarters, so it is like a perfect gray area car. You can't say it's not a real car because of that. The front end, as far as the fiberglass front end on it, it's sloped up in the back towards the windshield a little more than normal. I mean, the front bumper lays back a little bit more than normal. The wing is the biggest thing, because usually those cars are sloped back like this, but that car slopes up to that big Pro Mod style wing that he's got on there. And it traps a ton of air. It's got like sideboards on it that are a foot tall, and it traps all that air that comes up over the car, and it's perfectly shaped like a bullet to catch it all. And that car has a lot of downforce because of the body the way it is.
It's like an F1 car. It's like, you know, everybody come out with these big, stupid-looking wings that they put on the back of the car, but like if you just make your whole car a wing, which is basically what that thing is, the whole car just hunkers down. Like, and that's why it's just like glued to the track. It doesn't care about bumps. Like, you look at all this top-end footage of this car, and it's like you can't even tell the track's bumpy.
It's stuck to the ground. And the crazy thing about that thing is he has very little electronics in that thing. He's got a grid ignition system. He still shifts the car manually. That's pretty wild.
And I heard that, and I wanted to see if that was true because I thought that was just hoopla. So, and of course, he's always pitted way at the end of the track, and so I went down there on Saturday before we started racing. I just wanted to go check it out. And, I mean, yeah, there's nothing fancy about that car. And like,
Probably got a B&M Pro stick in there or something.
yeah, I mean, it's a grid and a race pack. That's all there is in there. And like, the other thing too that I noticed is like, I think that car's been wrecked a few times. Like, it is a beater of a pro mod.
It has.
Like, and I don't think you're gonna see very many other cars that caliber, like,
Show up to an
show
event.
up because like,
It's a budget pro mod.
that Stude is just like, it's like a beater. Like, it's been wrecked and put back together so many times. Like, it doesn't matter.
Is that the same one that got wrecked into when we were at Missouri, or is it a different one? Did it used to be black?
I don't know, but I don't think so. But
No.
It's never been black? Okay.
No, I don't think so. But I think their recent incident was Outlaw H-Town. I think like it rolled and everything, right? Had to cut it.
They rebuilt that car. I think they told that I heard 140 days.
Wow.
They completely reback half that car from what it was, because it took a really bad spell out there. Flipped a couple times, and it was pretty tore up.
He wrecked it in the shutdown at Yellow Belly the first 2 years ago too. I think he kept racing it that night, but yeah, I mean that car gets beat on, but like I'm looking at it, I'm like, this thing is like not pretty by any means. Like, it's just a beater of a pro
Well,
mod.
that's the thing. It doesn't have to be pretty to go fast. It just has to work.
Yeah, and there's not a sensor on that car, dude. Like, I think I heard he only has a drive shaft sensor.
Sometimes
like,
I wonder if we pay too much attention to data and sensors.
But when your car is set up so good, like when it works so good, you just don't need all the data. Like I think he literally just like, I think he just paddles it the whole pass. He's just like, he leaves easy and he's like, okay, it's stuck. And
Well, I'm
then
sure he
just-
uses timing control and
Yeah.
the seat of his pants to figure out, with the grid,
for sure.
where he needs to add power, where he doesn't. He's obviously very good at what he does. I mean, most people would take a car out there to Yellow Belly and wad it the fuck up. A car like that.
He's a driving fool, dude.
He is a driving fool. And
I don't know
he's
how you
very
see
good.
out of that thing, especially with how close the tree is at Yellow Belly.
Yeah.
I was looking, and like he's kind of a short guy, and I'm looking at where he sits in it, and he's like at the bottom of the windshield line. I'm like, how does he even see the tree?
That's a good point.
Because, yeah, I don't know. Like that's got to be just wild driving that car. You can only see like
If he's in the right lane, it's got to be hard to see it. He'd almost have to look around the blower.
or the left lane would be worse, I think, because
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I can't imagine what that car is like, and that's an older style Hemi too, is what I've heard. Like, it's not like new top of the line shit. It's like some old school.
Well, I saw he commented on a post and said that engine he bought for $35,000 turnkey with a spare short block. So he bought 2 engines for 35 grand complete. I don't know if that's with the blower or not, but probably not with the blower. But still, you can't argue that. I mean, I've got 35 grand in my big block, just my one big block. So he did his research there and found somebody that sold it cheap. And
I wonder what the maintenance is on that, Johnny. I mean, you think it's like an aluminum rod deal and
oh yeah,
Yeah.
the whole thing is aluminum. I mean, other than
Really?
it's probably got a billet crank and but I think as easy as he's running it, because you got to think that engine is set up to go 350s, 360s to the eighth. Like an engine like that is capable of that, and it's built like that. So when you take an engine that's built for that and run 440s, you're not really beating on it
right.
like you normally would. He's probably maintenance in it just like everybody else. Like
Yeah.
probably 60, 80 passes, put rods in it, and bearings maybe 50, 60,
Yeah.
probably when he does the rods. I mean, I would imagine. He's not beating the crap out of it.
So what other races can that car fit? Like, it's got steel roof and quarters. There's no other races in the country that it can't fit, right? Like, it fits a normal small tire class. I know this class of small tire gangsters was called anything on 28s. Normally it's just called small tire. I wasn't sure if there's any rule differences that would like keep him out of other races, because like I wonder why he doesn't show up. I only see that car out a few times a year. Maybe it's just because we're not down there. I don't know, but
Well, it's been wrecked for a while.
right.
Obviously it just got put back together pretty recently. But I think most small tire rules is 28, 10, 5, steel roof and quarters, which it has all that. And then some will do a wheelbase rule within plus or minus 2 inches. I don't know if it fits the wheelbase rule. I would imagine it does, because the factory wheelbase of one of those cars is already plenty long enough. I don't see any reason why it's stretched. It's just the way the body is makes it work so well.
Yeah.
It's just a body modification that some promoters are going to be like, yeah, this is okay, and some are not. Is it good for the sport, you think, to see cars like this showing up to run small tire against some of the lower budget guys? Is there even a low budget in small tire anymore?
No.
No.
No. I'll be curious to see. So he's on the list for the King of the South coming up, and I've already heard what that thing's been on radials before, and it's insane. So like I'm gonna be anxious to see like how fast that thing will really go. On
King of the South is a slick prep, right?
Yes.
Okay. And they run it kind of in the heat. Last year it was a little gooey.
Yep.
But still, it's a prepped surface capable of low 4s,
Yep.
maybe 3s.
Yep.
I still don't know if anybody's been 3s on a 28 yet.
There's
I know some people
rumors.
have been close.
There's rumors.
I'm sure the
that there
Prestons
is.
have gotten very close. I think Preston's been 4.0s.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
I'm sure somebody has.
Yeah.
Just
Nobody's saying it.
not during an event with the boards on or anything like that. I think we'll probably see that soon. It's
It's crazy that that's where we're at now, though, is the advantages are, everybody's getting so much out of their combos, but now we're at the limitation of who has the better shaped body. You know what I mean? Like, who started out with the better body to begin with? Because aerodynamics are it's becoming a bigger and bigger thing, because that's the next thing,
And these guys are going almost 180, 190 in the eighth. So
Yep.
it becomes a big thing at that point. Back when 4 or 5 years ago, when everybody was going 130, 140 in the eighth, it wasn't as big of a deal. But now, I mean, the barrier just gets pushed more and more every year. I don't know if it should be allowed or not. It's not up to me to say. I'm not a promoter. I don't put on races. I just strap in the car and race. I don't want to be a promoter. I honestly have no desire. But it's definitely a hard thing for promoters to decide on.
Here's the thing. So Friday was Gangster Cup, and Stude won that, and he beat Ryan in the finals, right? I think. Or
Yeah.
did they race in semis? And I mean, it wasn't.
And not just beat him.
It was a stretch.
He
And
had-
Ryan's won every year, I'm pretty sure, or at least the first year. And I think had Saturday not been free entry, I don't see.
Nobody
you
would've
would have
entered.
lost so much of the
Yeah.
car count Saturday. I mean,
If it had
would've
been
killed
$300 or
it.
$400 entry like normal, nobody would have entered, gave away their money.
Absolutely not. And I do think it was really cool that Saturday they decided to race first pair down off the trailer, because I think both of them know that they're the ones to beat there, absolutely. And I think Ryan knew after what happened Friday night, he's like, my only chance is if I get this dude off the trailer.
And the
And
In the heat
even
of the day.
in the heat of the day.
track's
And-
greasy. It's not as tight.
and even then, dude, I mean, Ryan was out on him by almost a car.
Well, he treated him.
Treat him.
60-footed him a little bit.
Yep.
But mainly treat him. He was out a car and a half, and then got beat by 2 cars still.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're looking at, it's not even close.
Or there was a 2/10 difference in the heat of the day.
Yeah.
And then what was wild is, since they were first pair down and the class before them was Little Gangsters, there was a huge fuck up because they still had it on Little Gangsters on the timing system.
Yeah.
And
530 cap.
everybody thought Ryan won,
I
especially
thought
if you're on
starting
the
line.
starting line and saw how much he was out by. I thought he won.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was like, hell yeah, of course I like both of them, but like I wanted to see Ryan win. And
Of course.
I was crushed when I realized he didn't win. I can't imagine, because I saw like their crew they all thought they won too, and man, that it really sick. That's just one of them track mistakes, but
It does. It happens, but it really shouldn't.
Shouldn't
in a
happen.
race of that caliber. I've seen that stuff happen before, and if the race director doesn't come out and immediately say what happened, it becomes a huge argument, and it still can become a huge argument.
the betting is what's dangerous about that, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of money on that race, and suddenly you got to tell this guy that just won a bunch of
Oh,
money.
his win lights on. I ain't paying.
Right, exactly. That shit's dangerous.
It is.
Like, that's the biggest thing to me, is if you're gonna make a mess up like that, now you're facing a track like that too. A lot of people are having to hand their money back over that aren't gonna want to,
Yeah.
because that win light came on. That's all that matters.
What do you think about True Street? Do you think that's a class that everybody should jump in if they can't compete in small tire?
Hi.
Do you think any rule changes should be made for True Street so that it's easier for small tire cars that can't compete in small tire anymore to get in True Street? Or do you think they should adapt their cars?
Well, the first thing that happened this year, and Chris actually explained to me, because obviously you guys have a lot of races in Ohio,
Yep.
and you guys made a True Street rule change this year. You want to explain that with the triangulated 4-link stuff?
Yeah. So basically, before we had basically to where anything that didn't, so like the 4-link stuff, like the Mustangs and stuff, all come 4-linked factory-wise, obviously, correct? So now, obviously, Nicky Bobby's came out with his 4-link setup for the S10s.
That bolts in.
That bolts in. OBS truck, I think, is the same, correct? Right? The same thing.
Yeah, similar.
Similar.
Okay. So, and there is a lot of S10s that are still, small tire vehicles that, it's hard. I mean, if you put a 4-link in an S10, it's probably a huge game changer, you know.
Yeah.
And it's a bolt-in, like you said. So
It bolts into the factory locations for the most part.
Yep. So, with that being said, like all the S10 guys want to go 4-link, and you know they're kind of at a disadvantage, you know, with the CalTrack and stuff like that that's set now. So this year, between me, Happy, Jeff Thomas, we all agreed that you could put in 4-link in the rear suspension, kind of like how the Fox bodies are, because the end
Triangulated?
triangulated 4-link.
What about a parallel 4-link? Like,
That's a no.
That's a no.
Yeah.
But a ladder bar that bolts into the factory locations and has full frame rate, like if you have a car that has full frame rate still, you can do ladder bars.
Yes.
From my understanding.
Correct. And it helps with that because, you know, you still have those guys that want to compete and stuff like that. And that's, you know, and everybody always complains of Fox body. Like,
well, not only Fox bodies, but G bodies as well have triangulated 4-links.
yep.
It literally was like a Fox body versus leaf spring class.
Yes.
And in a class that's already so dominated by Fox bodies, you know, I think it was a great rule change. Because, I mean, again, how can you argue it bolts in? It's a triangulated 4-link that bolts in for S10s. And, of course, I'm sure he's going to come out with bolt-in 4-links for all, like, you know, whatever the next most popular thing is. And I'm excited for that. Thank you, Nick Taylor, because it helped my situation.
I'd really like to try it on your blue truck when we get it going.
I'd be down. I would definitely be down.
And then maybe try it on mine after that if
Yeah.
it works good.
I'd be down for sure.
The thing that I get tired of is adjusting the CalTrax every time you adjust weight. And we have to reset the anti-roll bar
Yeah.
every time you move weight around. It's like when you have a 4-link, all you have to do is mess with your anti-roll bar. You're not adjusting your bars because you added weight.
Yeah. Now, I love leaf springs. They're such a simple setup. CalTrax work well. You were winning on them for years in the S10. Like, simplest.
They
simple
work
as it
good
gets.
off the starting line, but once they're out there, I mean,
They're along for the ride.
yeah, I just feel like up top they don't have the stability that you do with a 4-link.
Yeah. You got to have a leaf spring car that's really dialed in, especially when you start going 1-teen, 1.0, 60 foots. You got to be absolutely dialed. Like, the 4-link thing is a major difference. Like, I don't know. I think it's a good change. I think it'll even up the class and.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's going to be huge for me because my car, the Falcon, obviously came in 1961 with leaf springs, buggy springs. And same thing with probably Chevy 2 Novas. The only way to fit bigger than like an 8-inch wheel, you have to mini tub it and, you know, do some skimming of the frame rails.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're not using leaf springs. But it's basically, you know, my car is like a Fox body underneath. It's the
Yeah.
same geometry. And honestly, it should have came like that from the factory for all. I mean, it looks factory down there.
It's got Mustang front struts. It's got
Yeah.
Mustang geometry in the rear
But I haven't been allowed to run that class
because of
ever.
that.
And it's like,
You're just a heavier, longer Fox body.
yeah, it's like, why? It's dumb. And the only other rule that's kicking me out is methanol, which now that rule change happened with the 4-link, I would be willing to go ahead and put it on E85 and intercooler and everything. And I'm way heavily, I think it's way funner, like even if it is a downgrade, but to me, I've always been racing up. At least for the last 3 years, I've been racing cars that are like, I'm a true street car in small tire. But now, some people look at it now that I'm stepping down as I'm puppy kicking. It's really frustrating. It's like, no, I've been racing up forever.
Yeah.
And now I'm finally racing in my means.
You're racing in the class that the car should have been in to begin with.
Yeah.
Because it's got a steel dash, it's got steel doors, it's got door panels, roll-up windows, all the glass is real glass. Like, it's a street, like you could street drive it if you wanted to.
You take the wing and parachute off and the freaking bead locks, and you wouldn't even know it's a freaking race car. Like, I mean, yeah, I really
it's not
want
a tube chassis small tire
no,
car.
not at all.
And then if you don't have a tube chassis car and small tire anymore, you're probably not going to do too hot unless you've got a really lightweight Fox body that's dialed.
Yeah, and of course here comes all the people that have really fast stock suspension Mustangs still that are like flying and winning, and I understand that. You know,
I think they all sold them last year though to get chassis
I
cars.
think so too.
To be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. But that's not gonna fly much longer in small tire. Like it's just not. Now you get on really good front sides that aren't bumpy, like, you know.
It's surface dictated.
Yeah,
still.
it is.
It really is. I mean, you can't argue that the surface is going to dictate the outcome between a chassis car and a stock suspension car.
But I think even in the backside stuff, you're going to start seeing more and more chassis cars winning that too. Like look at Larry Houck's car. Look how good it does. And he's only been doing it for a year or so.
And it's so opposite of what we've thought is the perfect backside car. It's fuck tons of travel, tons of weight in the back. Like now, a lot of people are still running a lot of weight in the back, but like now it's more about who has the best mid plate. Like you don't even need travel. Like if you have a car set up like that, like a chassis car, and you know you don't even have the factory firewall anymore, you don't need travel. And then it's just the cars just work really well. Like Larry's car didn't make sense to me for the longest time, so I got to see it up in person. I'm like, well, number one's like 10 inches behind the spindle. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's crazy. You know. Things are just changing, and every form of racing evolves, and you either need to get in where you fit in, or you cry and complain and you just quit racing altogether. Like,
Yeah.
but some people also need to just be like, there's no budget racing unless if you go bracket racing or index racing, and if you don't want to do that and you're just egotistic about it, like fuck index racing, stupid, it's just not racing, like. There's a place for it. Like people want to race, but some people can't afford to do heads-up racing. You know what I mean? There's a place for little gangsters. There's a place for index racing. You know, I hate that people are like hating on it so bad and don't want to see it at a heads-up race because they think, well, I'm not going to watch that shit. It's like people are out there having a good time. You know, there's finally somewhere for the guys that are kind of like me who are stuck in like 2 years ago that can only go fucking 530 on some of these surfaces. We have a place to.
You don't necessarily have the budget. You know,
Right.
And that's a lot of people in the same boat.
Yeah.
You don't have the budget to put together a $250,000 car. And
Plus, it's nice to have more than one class to enter.
yeah,
You know, especially if you're traveling far. You know, in some little gangsters classes, you get hits before even first round. You know,
yeah,
you're getting more for what you paid to get to the track and get in the track. You know, you pay this amount of money, and let's say you go out and lose first round of small tire, your value is terrible. But if you're able to double enter in classes, get a test hit, suddenly it makes more sense to leave the house.
I'm thinking about setting the S10 up for True Street as well because it's always worked really good on a radial. It hits the tire really hard, plants it in the ground, and I'd like to be able to drive the car or the truck again because that was the whole reason that I fell in love with it in the first place was driving it into town to street race and driving it home with the radio on. You know, that's the good stuff. That's what you remember, and that's what lasts longer memory-wise than just winning some race in a chassis car that you push to the lanes. You know,
Can we put a 23-degree motor back in it? Please.
I'm down.
So another thing we did, I don't want to change subjects if we're not ready, but like I do want to talk about the dyno day. You know, we got to go dyno your Camaro on the way down to Texas. We stopped at Eric Gash's place. I don't know if you want to talk about that or not.
Yeah, that was a great experience. I didn't have a whole lot of expectations going into it because I've just had so many things go wrong in the past. The first time you go to fire up an engine or the first time you take it to the track. But we've never taken something to the dyno first thing ever, like when something's new. And 10 Soldiers and Eric Gash, all those guys over there did an amazing job putting the car together. And we literally had only a couple minor issues, and it was mainly just because little settings in the computer, stuff wasn't set right. Phenomenal job by all those guys because the car made exactly what they wanted it to make on the boost they wanted, and we shut it off a little bit early because we wanted to check the oil and be cautious. Like, we just put this thing together. It's taken this long. We're not going to get in a rush to make 3,000 horsepower before we get the break-in oil out of it and, check everything over. But it was a really good experience, and that car made more power than, anything else I've ever had. So,
On like 18 to 20 pounds.
yeah. I mean, the Nova makes right around 2,000, but that thing made 2450 with ease. So, I mean, 50 pounds of boost, it should make 3,000 if I ever get it up that high. And I should be able to. I've got the injector on that one. It's got 16. The Nova's only got 8, so it's kind of limited there.
So I know a lot of people are, kind of expecting you to take this car out to some of these big races this year, but you finally have something as special as the Camaro, and you've sunk a lot of money into that deal and a lot of effort, and it's like people are almost expecting to see that car at like War in the Woods or like
Right away.
Yellow Belly.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's your opinion? Like, how do you feel about that? Because that's
Yeah.
kind of sketchy.
So the first race that I want to really do is it's either going to be that King of the South race or maybe the race at Beach Bend for $100,000 that Speed Promotions is doing. I feel like that's a good surface for it. I'm not going to take it to any sketchy backwoods tracks right away.
Do you think you ever will?
I don't
Or
know.
we
I'm
just
not
leave
going to
that
say.
for the
I'm not
Nova?
going to say no. I'm not going to say I never will because things could change. But I would like to keep the Nova for sketchy backwoods stuff and just keep improving it, rather than take my
Yeah.
$250,000 or more car to a backwoods track.
Yeah.
I think even the Prestons are kind of in the same boat now. They're kind of like, yeah, we've done it, we won it. It's time to get back to the better stuff with even Frankenstein.
Yeah. I didn't mean to take us away from small tire gangsters so quick. I know there's a lot of stuff we still want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
Well, first year we missed last year, but 2 years ago when we went, it was a great time. Really cool race. I think we all can remember it. Not like what this one was.
And why do you think that is? Like, I think there's a few factors, right? It was, first off, very expensive to get in. I mean, it's very, very expensive. You pay like NPK prices to get in this place.
$70 for the whole weekend,
Yeah.
$25 to park, and an extra $100 just to be on the starting line.
Yep.
And I think we saw a major.
And they were enforcing that heavy, even with us.
Yep. And I think we saw a major decline in merch sales.
We
I think
did.
everybody saw a decline in merch sales just because by the time these people pay to get in the damn track, there's no room left. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I heard a lot of people were Ubering there to avoid paying for parking. A lot of people turned around at the gate and left when they realized how expensive it was.
Yeah.
I mean,
who honestly checks how much it is to get into a race before they go?
I never would have thought it would have been that much to get in, so I wouldn't
It's
have
also
checked.
all cash. That track is cash only. There's no credit card machine there.
Yeah.
Actually, have an ATM.
ATM on the trailer out the
Oh, right.
Yeah, they actually, Jimmy came and hunted our workers down and made them pay for being there. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I would make his workers pay at my event, but that's fine, He seemed a little bit money hungry on this deal. I'm going to be honest. He kind of caught me off guard.
I wasn't so sure about it, and I kind of questioned him on it a little bit because, I mean, I'm not used like when I usually go to a race, like I'm always tight with whoever it is, and like it's always taken care of no matter what. Like
The vibes were off from the start. The vibes were just off from the start. It wasn't, hey, how you doing? It was like immediately, trying to get money out of people. And
The whole weekend.
yeah,
I think everybody experienced it.
yeah,
They
Yeah.
were, and you could see they were all arguing all weekend. It really sucked. The vibe
Yeah.
was off. Vibes were down.
yep. The workers were arguing with each other, and
There's a lack of workers as well.
right.
Not
And the
enough
oil
people.
downs didn't help at all. But you have to expect that with as many cars as you got there.
Mhm.
You're going to have oil downs, you're going to have cleanups. But there was not a readiness there to be able to clean the stuff up.
Spectators were helping clean the track.
Yeah, they didn't have the proper equipment, I would say, for the type of event that they put on to clean up the track in a timely fashion. I think one time we sat in the lanes for over 3 hours cleaning stuff up, and there was no announcements, nothing to really keep the vibe up, you know. Just
No announcer.
they needed a
music.
Jamie Deere out there, you know, joking around and
Yeah.
I believe they used to have a DJ too, and then they got rid of that, and they were supposed to do an announcer, and that never happened. So it was
Yeah.
just silent the whole time.
yeah. Well, not silent. It was just a lot of music from the pits.
Music from the pits, and then
That was all just kind of blended together. It just kind of felt like you're at a Mexican restaurant birthday party.
Oh god. Yeah. Vibes were down. Mexican music was up.
Do you think having an announcer would have toned the music down a little bit?
That's,
It may have. I almost think you need somebody going around and enforcing the audio levels in the pits. Like, hey man, turn down just a little bit so we can hear the announcements.
Yeah.
They had a WhatsApp instead of announcements.
I didn't mind that.
I think WhatsApp's great, but you still need an announcer to announce what cars are on the line and what
Yeah.
class is up.
Yeah, because spectators like to know that stuff. They
Yeah,
always-
you don't even know when 530's up or when small tire's up or True Street.
Yeah.
We had multiple people ask us behind the fence there when we were standing up there and say, "Hey, what class is this?" Like they had no idea. Like,
What we used to do for our events is we would have girls come out holding up signs like boxing for classes, and I always thought that was the coolest.
I got a ton of nasty grams on the WhatsApp. Getting all kinds of rude messages from people.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
And you couldn't even respond on there.
No, I couldn't even plead my case.
Yeah.
Just nasty gram after nasty gram.
Yeah, a lot of the people working the event were very unpleasant. Some were nice, some were unpleasant. Just the vibes were off, man. I don't think I'll go back to another one.
Well, they're not gonna have another one
Yeah.
unless if. I mean, they've all said this was the last one. Everybody's pissed off. So, at least at Yellow Belly, from what I've heard. But
And I don't mind, like, okay, you want the workers to pay to get in, you know, that come to help me, but if the shoe was on the other foot, would it be the same way? I don't think so. I don't think it would be. You know, we try to treat everyone like family here. You know, he's been here a lot. You know, I'm just saying. I'm not going to get too far into it, but
And then the other thing that really killed the vibes was, you know, the kid getting hit with the piece of drive shaft. That really sucked. That happened like right in front of the SRC tent. And honestly, like,
why couldn't that have happened to somebody on the starting line where they shouldn't have been? Why did it have to be that kid sitting there, probably his first time at a racetrack, and he was just there to watch his cousin
yeah,
just hanging out
and
with his
Charlie
grandpa.
Brown. He was there to watch his cousin race and Charlie Brown, that orange Camaro, and Charlie. And the kid had very bright future in college football. I still hope he can play. He's a sophomore in high school, tore his ACL his freshman year, basically sat out his freshman year. Sophomore year was going to be his year, man. And then this happens.
yeah. And I don't want people to take what you said wrong. It should happen to nobody if we're right. But yeah, just like
Well,
why?
you would expect it to happen to somebody that's not standing where they're supposed to
right? Yeah, the kid that's following the rules, and you know, he
be. The
gets,
fucking drive shaft goes through a fence and three
Yeah.
other obstacles and
does-
hits him.
Yeah, just crazy. Doesn't make sense.
Very freak accident.
Yeah, and that
And you know, that could have happened anywhere. Gosh, I don't know. It just sucked. It just sucked so bad. I can't stop thinking about that kid.
Yeah, that could have been any
And
of us.
it
could
could
have
have.
been.
Right after that, Tommy and I left the starting line. Like, we didn't even finish filming the event.
We didn't feel
We're like,
safe up there.
Yeah, what if it happened to you?
Oh, that'd be terrible.
That'd be awful, man. If it happens to somebody you know, shit changes in a hurry, you know. Happens to some random person, you're like, oh, you brush it off and you forget about it.
I think
But-
that's the first time I ever left a starting line because I didn't feel safe. There
We've
was
been to
just,
some crazy places too, but this was the first. The thing is, there's so many people on the starting line
There's people standing in front of the starting line
and in front of the
and
tree.
in the bed of trucks. There's a truck on the track,
Yeah,
off to the side, like
people standing in between the cars and the truck. Like,
Yeah, they could
what-
get pinned
they
against the wall.
squished.
in
It's
order
insane.
to get an angle and actually film there, you have to put yourself in really dangerous situations. And at one point, it just looks ridiculous because it's like I have 5 people next to me filming the same angle. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like this isn't even like it's not worth it. Just
At a certain point, I realized that Kenny on the finish line had the best angle by far, and it's
Yeah.
just pointless for us to be up there and risk our
Powers,
lives.
man.
Kenny
Kenny
freaking Powers.
Kenny is a
MVP.
man.
Kenny is back.
Kenny is back.
For
Back
those
in-
of you guys that don't know, Kenny did all the finish line footage this past weekend, and it is fire.
It was
He might as well work
Killed it.
1320.
No shit.
Put in his
Killed it.
resignation. He's going to Nebraska.
Kenny's been a huge help, man. Ever since he's been back, just man, he's just on
He
it.
has been. He's-
Shout out Kenny.
Yeah, he's been great.
Yep.
From, getting the cars ready, and he never complains, man. Never once complains. He's just always going the extra mile. So big shout out to Kenny Powers for sure.
And then the other thing that happened was Saturday night, the person had a seizure after Stu did a burnout.
Yeah. Which is funny because we were watching a live from the motorhome, and you're like, the ambulance is on the track, and somebody got hurt. And I was like, I'll bet somebody had a seizure from that dude doing a burnout, sucked the air out of his lungs.
Yeah, and then it was like, oh, yeah, somebody had a seizure.
Yeah.
You got to
can't be
imagine,
standing that close to a car like that.
if I had to guess, probably somebody that's been staying up there since noon, probably 56 beers deep, like been standing up there like already in a bad situation, and then you get like 4,000 horsepower burnout from a foot away. It probably isn't good for you. But
Yeah.
And then don't forget about the wheel and axle coming off that S10.
Oh my
Hits some
gosh.
It
people.
tickle fits
Which
in
is
the leg.
that's
and-
literally where we were
and
standing.
that's where I was filming from. I was literally 2 people down from him whenever he came up on Friday.
Yep.
That could have easily broke somebody's leg.
Yep.
I think Tickle Fits got hit by the axle. Still had a wheel on it.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
First off, why are you going to Yellow Belly with a 10 bolt and no C-clip eliminators? We got to do better, guys.
S10 people.
I broke an axle on the S10 back in the day. Well, actually, I didn't. Dad did. It was the first time the S10 was on radials, and he was testing it on the test spot behind trails. And he calls me and he said, I need the trailer. And I knew the truck was gone, and I was like, oh boy. I thought he blew it up. No, I get down there, and the truck is sitting like this, and the axle and the wheel is in the ditch. I'm like, what did you do? Fucking hooked.
Bro, that test spot back in the day was magical. First of
Doesn't
all,
mean
like,
doesn't even make sense.
no, it doesn't make sense. We used to make so many hits there, but like to go out there on that street on a radial, and I think you were going like low 1-2s.
It was going low. It was going mid to low 1-2s.
It's ridiculous on a radial.
Yeah.
That street was something else back then, man. I miss
Well, it
it.
always had a shade, because of the trees and everything. So,
Yeah.
it never got overly slick, and the temperature of the road was always good. So,
Mhm.
and especially at night, it would get good. Man,
Was your blue truck on a radio when it went there and did that massive wheelie?
No, it was
Slick.
slick, but it didn't have no in it roll bar or X brace, and it kept wheeling. And the other thing is, we had just set up the nitrous kit, and Dad didn't have the interrupt set up for the
it
trans
wasn't
brake.
interrupting on the trans brake. So
Nah.
that shit was on like 300 shot. Like, while I was on the brake shooting flames.
Shooting flames out of the full exhaust, like exits behind the cab.
It was rowdy.
Yeah, it was very right. That's how I learned how to drive so quick, because first of all, you guys put me on a hard tire at first.
Terrible idea.
Terrible idea, but learned how to drive. And then we put slicks on and then put the nitrous kit on. And Dad's got me out there on a 300 shot. It's doing wheelies. trying to go on the bumper, trying to go in the ditch because, the road's got a crown and no X brace, it's like the G body shuffle, S10 shuffle. And it's just like, and he's like, quit lifting. I'm like, Dad, it's going in the ditch. He's like, this is where we do the old point it left, wheelies, and then it's straight. And I finally made one pass where I didn't lift, and yeah, took like 4 tries because I kept pussyfooting, but.
Those are the good days. Yeah, the old blue truck on nitrous, that was some good times. Going out in the street racing that and getting your feet wet.
I don't think that truck's lost on the street, ever.
Yeah, it lost to Henderson
Yeah, it did.
by
Just
bumper.
one. The Falcons also got a wicked record on the street.
Yeah, it's a pretty good record on the street.
It's only lost at the pad twice, and both was in the finals.
Yeah.
And then locally, I don't think it's lost any street races, other than you beat me at in Dayton.
Did I?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we raced.
the
I was
Nova.
having.
Oh, yeah.
Remember my
No, it was
transmission
a-
fluid
that
was
was-
leaking, and I had fittings leaking. It was a whole mess. And then
What do we need to do with that thing? Do you think we need to just retire it to True Street?
that's what I'd like to do.
Just do that?
Because look, there's two schools
You
of
don't
thought.
you don't really want to street race it a lot anymore, do you?
I don't love street racing in the first place, but it is a great. It loves the street, but there's 2 schools of thought. Like, to me, either way, it needs to go to 10 soldiers. I definitely noticed this past weekend, like even on a 1-3 60-foot, and especially when we got the limiters set, it really shows how bad the front left is like 4 inches high off the ground, and the right is just steering. And it's like, even on a slow 60-foot, but especially when we set the limiters, it's yanking the left strut. And
We also didn't check the anti-roll bar on a flat surface. So I'd like to check it now and see if it was correct.
it ain't been like this since.
I know, but you've been 114 60-foot in that thing
yeah.
before. And it
I mean,
goes straight.
No, I mean it's all. I mean, I feel like it always picks up the left front. It just depends who has the camera angle. Sometimes we're like, oh man, it looked good, and then you see it from that angle, and it's like, oh, it's fucking carrying the left front the whole track. So here's my thought: is even for True Street, we could do upgrades to it. As far as I would love to cut out the inner fenders up front and just keep. The factory location where that needs to be, and everything else, we need to have bars out to the front, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that would make it easier to work on because getting plugs out of it is like a 2-hour job.
Yeah.
Just a pain in the ass in general.
I think the struts where they are need moved because your camber is so bad.
Oh my God, it drives me nuts.
I think the struts need to come out more so that they're more straight up
Yeah.
and down. That way it's not on
And
such an
I
angle.
want my wheelbase back to the way it was because the last time we took it to Lucor, I think you said they made it, and it was better for stability and
Caster.
And caster.
Yeah.
But
Your front tires rub a little bit.
yes, I like my front tire because both front fenders are now bowing out. They have a crease in them.
Yeah.
Just from I don't know. I think I tied it down a couple times and the straps just messed up the fenders. I don't know, but and just rust in general where they rusted and now they've creased. And so the bottom of the fender is coming towards the front of the front tire. And so like I'll be turning and I'll hit a bump and then it like grabs the front end. It's terrible.
How cool would it be to do a drag and drive in the Falcon and the S10, both of them? That'd be cool.
I know it, but I just built a freaking drag and drive truck. So it's like now I got 2 things. I'll let Chris drive my truck or something. I'll let Chris drive the Falcon next sick week or something.
We got plenty of people that can drive.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I built that stupid truck out there. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I drive it every day now. It's more reliable than my
daily.
green truck. Yeah.
It's daily
It's
drive.
quieter than your green truck.
It's quieter than my green truck, yeah.
It's honestly probably more reliable, too.
And then it's like, what the hell do we do with that thing?
What?
The S10. I personally want to just put it back to the way it was. I don't even care if it has nitrous. I just want to be able to drive it and bracket race it. That's all I care. Like index race it.
We can do that.
And because if we're going to build that for True Street, there's no sense in setting that thing up for True Street. I feel like, I don't know.
That would be the cheapest thing to do, is just put it back the way it was. Maybe put a little bit of nitrous on it.
Tell me about
I was gonna say you're gonna leave it nitrous just like it was.
it. Yeah.
That would be a cool just grudge truck just to go out, and if you want to
Yeah.
make a hit on the street, like
Yeah.
you can.
For sure.
A nasty nitrous small block would be cool.
I agree. I miss having a nitrous car in the camp. One that's like
Bang some
decent.
bang some shit through the motor.
But if I was going to do it my way, I'd like to build a pump gas motor, not
Yeah.
an E85 motor, because how many of those have we blown up? Every one of them. So, you know, one day I will talk Dad into that. But Kenny Powers got here. We should call him. Kenny! Get him in here.
He's not
Okay.
gonna talk.
Oh, well,
Here it comes.
Kenny, take my spot. You're going to tell everybody about.
Gotta get on Mark's break, close it. Battery and alternator.
What time is it?
Ah.
Oh, hell. It's 4 o'clock.
He's got testing.
Just sit down for
No, here, you take my spot.
Sit down for 2 or 3 minutes and tell us about your experience at Yellow Belly. We were just talking about how much of a big help you've been this past, and you make things a lot smoother when you're around.
Switch it up a little bit.
You're like you like help my dad avoid, you like see the disaster before it happens, and then you steer him away.
Yeah, what
I
was
tried
some of the
to.
disasters that you experienced on this trip?
I don't know. There was quite a few, really.
Tell us about the car play that you set up for my dad.
Yeah. It don't work on his phone. For some reason, it won't work on his phone. Worked fine on mine, but not his.
You
What did
really-
he do with it?
He chucked it out the window. $200 car play.
Wow.
Side of the highway in Texas.
So tell us about your experience at Yellow Belly.
Yeah, it was great. Other than the Mexican music and stuff on the big end.
You filmed Finish Line for us the whole weekend, so what was that like, seeing these cars and how fast they were going?
It was very interesting how fast they were going down through there. They were flying.
Especially Studebaker.
Yeah.
But you had a good time?
Oh, yeah. Had a blast.
Good. Yeah, thank you for all your help recently. Things have been going a lot smoother. You and Chris, like, ever since you guys started helping, I mean, everything's organized and clean, and it's just been a huge help, so thank you to you guys. I hope you guys are having a good time on these trips. I know some of them can be kind of long, but
Yeah.
How
It's been
about
fun, though.
I love traveling. I mean, I'm used to it. So
Yeah.
it's nothing new for me. It's a good time though.
what were you going to say, Billy?
Oh, I was gonna say, how about that restaurant we stopped at? Old Bombshells. That's pretty good.
Yeah, they had some really good
If
food.
you're ever in the Dallas area, Bombshells is where you need to go eat lunch.
It was all right.
Dude, my burger was amazing.
Me and Allison got the wrong thing, apparently, because we got fettuccine Alfredo. It was cold.
There's
No
good,
flavor.
good scenery in there. Nice, big, open restaurant.
How was the talent compared to Twin Peaks or Hooters?
I think the talent level at Bombshells is right up there with the best that you could find at a restaurant.
I'd like to be in there later in the day just to see what I think they were like the
The B
the
squad.
C or B squad.
Second
I'd like
string.
I'd like to see
Yeah.
what the A squad is at night.
First string.
There were some good looking Latinas in there.
The one woman on the podcast leaves and we immediately start talking about the talent at Bombshells. Allison, what did you think of the talent at Bombshells? Relative to Hooters and Twin Peaks?
They're pretty solid.
Okay, so Hooters shouldn't even be in business anymore.
Yeah, how are they
How?
in business still?
They just declared bankruptcy.
Did they?
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Hooters is pretty terrible in most locations that I've been to anymore in the past year or so. Twin Peaks is pretty good, but Bombshells is probably the best that I've seen.
All right, so what else? What else did we need to cover that we haven't covered so far?
What's coming up?
What's coming up? What's next?
I don't even know, dude. I have to look at the schedule. I
Weights
think,
and
Weights and
28s.
28s next weekend.
is that what it is?
Yes.
I hope my converter shows up for my truck. I need to get it back out, and I got the boost control set up. Oh, we went to Texas Speed. That's something we need to talk about.
Texas Speed.
Yeah, Texas Speed is huge. So we went there after Yellow Belly.
How many elves they got working in there?
Quite a few. It's like Santa's workshop.
Way more than I thought.
Yeah, man, they have like 3 buildings that look like, I mean, you've seen like Amazon down the road. It looks like that. It's
Really?
huge.
Giant concrete boxes.
Giant concrete boxes.
Just engine factories.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things where 4 years ago it was all farmland, and now they're just concrete boxes there. But they have one building they're working in now, but like soon I think they're gonna have to expand in the next 2. But yeah, it was cool. Our dude Justin from Texas Speed, he gave us a tour. He showed us their engine department and shipping department, and we got to see how all their camshafts are made. We got to see some like cylinder heads before they're just a block of material. Got to see a lot of cool stuff. Like their shipping department, they have so much stuff in stock ready to go. Like there's pallet racks, like 8 pallets high of just blocks, short blocks, ready to go. If you need a 1500 horsepower LS this weekend, like at your doorstep.
That's cool.
It was cool. So one thing we thought was really cool was they got an older feller in there in the assembly room assembling the short blocks, and there's only one guy that has his hands in them, each one. I think there's 1 or 2, and like
One for the short block, one for the long block.
yeah, and so every Texas Speed motor is only touched
Assembled.
by one guy.
Okay.
He assembles them. So you don't have like 46 people with their hands
good.
in one thing. So I thought that was really cool. It's not something I expected out of a company so big. But it's an older guy.
And I assume their machines are probably top of the line.
Oh yeah, I mean,
The machine works really good.
It looked like Steve Morris's shop, but like 5 times more machinery, just cranking out camshafts and yeah. So like obviously their LS stuff is their bread and butter. That's what they got started with. And then Coyotes got really popular, so they're selling a lot of those. They got like a Godzilla motor that we got to check out. That's freaking crazy looking. But yeah, so they've picked us up because they're dabbling in Hemis now. I think they're gonna start developing some camshafts and bottom end kits, and
So that'll be a video coming out on your channel soon.
yep, that'll be our next video. Really cool stuff. We're really excited. They're going to put together a 1,500 horsepower capable deal for us. And then we also got Logan built. He's from down there in Kentucky, really close to Tin Soldier race cars. He reached out, and he's setting us up with a 46 RE for the Dart. So I didn't even know that transmission existed. I wasn't sure what that was. But Logan specializes in like the diesel stuff. And he's got some really fast trucks out there with 48 REs that are surviving at 3,000 horsepower and a 4,400 pound truck going like 470s, 480s. Torque machines. So,
Yeah.
But those are 48s, but the internals for both the 46 and 48 are very similar. I think the reason that the 46s haven't caught on is converter selection, but he works with, I believe, PTC. I could be wrong on that. And like they've got high dollar equipment, machinery, testing converters right now, figuring it out, developing some converters, and we're going to kind of be like the guinea pig, I think, on some of that deal. But yeah, 46 RE, it'll have overdrive, and it should fit under her floor for the most part. I might have to do a little death wheeling, but like it wouldn't be as bad as like a Turbo 400, which is what we thought we were going to be stuck with. So, and a gear vendor, which is crazy expensive. So we're excited.
When do you think you'll have an engine for that deal?
They said, yeah, I'll let you talk, sorry.
I told them the goal was to have the car at Mo Party in September, and they said, yeah, we can make that happen. We'll get it to you a month before then.
They said they'd ship it back in August, I think.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have it as early as possible. That way you can start doing the fab work and
Yeah.
wiring. And
Well, I mean, the good news is we have that empty case, 46 RE from Logan, and then we have our spare block.
so you can set the block in there at least.
Yeah, so we just need to get this K member, and we can start mocking up everything. We can start mocking up exhaust.
It'd be nice to
and
get
cold side.
some heads too. That
Yeah.
way we can start doing a turbo kit.
Yeah, we should be able to do
Headers.
that. Yes, sir. So that's what's going on in our world. But we're excited. She's a Hemi brother, Hemi sister.
Hell yeah, brother.
You gonna start wearing that cowboy hat every day?
When it's not excruciatingly hot out.
It's kind of black, isn't it? Kind of put some heat on your head.
Yeah.
Keep the sun out of your eyes, though.
Yeah, I like it, honestly. Nobody around here wears them, so.
We should do We should ride the trend and do SRC cowboy hats.
Jason hasn't trademarked it yet. He hasn't trademarked the racer cowboy hat deal.
Gotta get after it. Robert's already on it, I bet.
Probably. Would you guys wear an SRC cowboy hat?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We should do like brown though.
We should definitely do something different than what he did with the black.
Yeah.
Needs to be,
Maybe
it
a
needs
tan.
to be a real cowboy hat. That's kind of like your, I don't know, you're going to a show, cowboy hat. I don't know what kind of show that is, but
Quarter
We are
horse
the show.
Congress.
Oh lordy, I think we've plateaued. Unless if there's anything else to discuss.
Kenny, do you think the Stooge should be allowed in small tire?
I mean, I don't see why not.
And
He's working just as hard as everybody else.
There's your answer. What Kenny says goes.
I think I agree with him.
there's no reason. There's really not.
At this point.
At this point, there's not. I mean, he fits the thing other than the goofy looking wing. And that's the only thing that everybody is complaining about right now. They're like, oh, that wing, that's just a wing. That's nothing. It still has steel roof and quarters.
The question is, what is Ryan Mitchell gonna do?
He already said he won't do a wing like that on his channel.
Hmm.
He refuses to do a wing like that.
Oh, I just wonder what he's gonna do to.
Well,
be able
you
to-
know he's not going to give up
No,
and lay down.
he'll figure it out. He'll figure it out, but it's just gonna be interesting what he's gonna do.
There's still a lot I want to do to the Nova, too. It's very, very heavy. We've got a fiberglass front end doors. And I don't think the chassis is near as dialed as what it needs to be just yet. There's still a lot of testing work to be done on it. There's two or three tenths left in it at that track. And watching the videos back, I'm like, why didn't I have more in it here? Why didn't I have more in it at this point in the run? Like, it looks stable, it looks calm, but you look at drive shaft on a bumpy track like that, and it's like, oh, well, I didn't have as much in it right here because the drive shaft's all over the place.
Maybe you should go back to just watching videos and tuning that way.
I think I'm better without looking at a drive shaft, at least
I-
after the first 1 second.
You should try it just to see.
I hate watching after you actually edited this video, but when I was watching it, I'm like, what the hell was I doing? I'm like, I was leaving way too soft, and obviously, like, you can hear the power come in. Like, no wonder it was power wheeling. But like, what I don't understand is I was just trying to listen to what the advice that people that are faster than me are giving me, and I don't know if I was just doing it wrong or my car is just different. Like you always say, there's 1,000 ways to get down the racetrack, but my car works a certain way, and the people I'm listening to have chassis cars, and a lot of the things don't pertain the same way. And a lot of the guys I'm listening to have big blocks that make a lot more power. So everybody was wondering, like, is the new wing making it power wheelie? I'm like, no, I was trying new things, and the way that I was tuning it is, look, everybody's like, Falcon sucks, you just sell it. Fucking car, like, and I've said
wore
it too.
out.
It's wore out. I'm like,
But if
no.
I take it and tune it and we will win True Street next weekend, they'll say, oh, Falcon's bad.
That's gonna make me look a lot worse than it's look. The car does what I tell it to. Ultimately, if I don't put enough power in it, it's not the car's fault. If I put too much in it and it spins, it's not the car's fault. The car could be better so that it's not so sensitive. That's how I feel. But like, I
Ultimately, you were leaving way too fucking soft in
Yeah.
the 60 foot, and even in True Street, you were leaving too soft because when it hit the bumps, it didn't have enough ground speed to get over them.
Yeah, but my thing is I'm on a radial out there, and I don't have a lot of data on just a front side no prep. Radials rely so much on glue, and I just don't know what my car is going to do on something like that. Like, I just don't have a lot of data on
What
it.
we should have done was tested it better on Friday or whenever we tested and tried to hit it harder in the 60 foot to see what the limit is until it spins and then back it off just a little bit.
Yeah. Yep. I was just trying new things Thursday night, and it bit me in the ass by Friday. And the other thing, too, is they glued it Thursday, and Friday they didn't, and I thought they were going to glue it again Friday. So I should have my regret. So with all the power wheelie troubles Thursday, I ended up taking one weight bar out of the back, and I limited the front end, which ultimately I think is good. That's not something I would have changed going into Friday and Saturday, but I do think I should have put the weight back in the back to help with the bumps.
The
And-
weight wasn't making the car wheelie. The way you were power managing was.
Yeah. Yep.
Because it didn't matter what you did with weight or travel. It did the same thing.
Yeah.
The way the power came in.
I think I'm going to start running limiters for most everything because
That's what I've been doing on the Nova.
the way I see it, if you think about it, like now that I'm seeing how the Stewed and some of these other cars, most of these fast cars don't have a lot of travel.
On a front side.
Yeah, and I think if you look at, like when my car is full tilt out the back, I'm wondering if I'm getting air under the car, and that's not helping with keeping it actually like the downforce of the car. You see a car like Stewed that has so much downforce, like, well, how much loss am I having with having so much travel with getting air under the car and
For sure.
Yeah,
You only need about 3 or 4 inches of travel on the front side.
Yeah, I just need like a month of testing. I really do. And I'm just lost.
The problem
in
is
sauce.
around here, it's so hard to find some place to test. We used to be able to go to Marion County and test. We used to go to Pacemakers and test. There's all kinds of little 8th mile tracks.
That place
But
is
now,
back up for sale again.
yeah, let's hope that somebody with a brain gets it this time. That was my favorite track.
I would do anything to have it back to the way it was, and
I know.
just be able to go to. It was the perfect surface for everything that we usually race on.
Back when Katie and Kevin owned it, we could go out there whenever we wanted and test. It was so nice.
I think it's for sale for 2.2 or 2.4 million right now.
It was 700, and it was probably better off then.
If you were, let's say you had the money back then, would you have bought it?
When it was 700,
And you, like, money wasn't a problem.
yeah,
You would have bought it?
yeah. If money wasn't a problem, I would have bought a lot of things by now.
Well, if money's not the problem and Pacemakers comes up for sale in a couple of years, would you buy it?
No.
So you're just a little more attached to Marion.
Pacemakers is a lot smaller. There's 2,600 feet of shutdown at Marion. It's a big track. It's got the longest shutdown in the state.
Yeah.
You could do backside races there, front side. You can do anything you want. You could have dirt. You could have big facility. You could have concerts.
There's no neighborhoods.
There's no
within the
neighborhoods bitching.
Yeah,
It's out in the middle of nowhere.
Marion was the place, dude.
Just a good vibe.
And it's not.
And I love Pacemakers. I grew up there, but
What was the other one? Magnolia?
Yeah.
I like that track too.
And that's a whole nother fucking deal. I don't know how much Chris wants to get into that, but
I don't. I'm good.
just know that No Prep Mania is on this year.
Yeah, my 2 events are happening no matter what, so don't know what's going to happen with the surface. Probably nothing because it's a little too far gone, but we'll see.
Maybe in a year or two they'll redo it.
Yeah,
Magnolia's tough because that's a little further than Marion for us.
Yeah, it's 2 hours. Marion used to be hour and 15.
Yeah. So, but Chris has explained to us, Mags is a weird track because it's in a flood zone. Is that what you'd call it? Like flood
Yeah.
area?
You can't
Yeah,
put
so-
up permanent walls.
yeah. So like, there's a reason why there's guardrail. There's a reason why you see the tower in the background on a trailer, and all the buildings are on pallets, basically, so that if you would ever, it's because it sits between two dams. It sits between the Dover Dam and the dam that's in Bolivar. And basically, if either dam fails, one's going to have to take on the effort for the other dam. And they can flood that area with that extra water to hold it back from going out through Dover. Because if the Dover Dam ever failed, Dover's screwed. That's it. It's done. And they have a contract with the Army Corps of Engineers to where they can only run certain many months. So like May 1st, they can start running at that track. After October 31st, it's cut off because then it starts snowing. So you get all that snow melting, and all that water comes down from north. So like when they get lake effect and stuff, all that stuff flows south.
What do you think came first, the racetrack or the flood zone?
The flood zone.
The flood
Why
zone.
would they build a racetrack in a flood zone?
I don't really know.
Cheap.
I mean, yeah, I
Cheap.
mean that's the only
Cheap
thing I
land.
would say. It was probably very cheap to do. I mean, if you look at like the pictures stuff from the back in the day, I mean that place was nothing but the surface it is on now. Like, that surface has not changed other than the surface there by the starting line and stuff where they've concreted.
That's definitely one of my favorite tracks. It's a challenge. It's really hard to go. I don't think anybody's been forged there, to be honest, but not on a small tire.
I think they did the last time out.
The last event
I
there?
think Duval
Logan
Okay.
did.
was probably going high fours.
I'm going to 490.
But yeah, even just to go 490s these days is slow. It's
Dude
like-
could probably go 60s there.
I don't know. God, that place is so rough. But I mean, we said that about Yellow Valley too.
I think they're very similar. Very, very similar.
Yeah, they're similar, but usually no prep mania isn't sticky down track
Right.
like Yellow Belly was.
Yeah,
that's the
that's
main
true.
difference.
Yep. And it's going to be even worse this year because they ain't going to be racing on it.
No bracket racing or anything.
Nope.
It's going to be rough.
I think it would have helped a little bit if the surface wasn't as sticky at Yellow Belly up top, but it wouldn't have changed the outcome, I don't think.
Yeah, I miss Marion, man. But somebody could still buy it and do something. I mean, and
Well, that IHRA guy's buying up all these tracks now, and I hear
I'm not sure that's the best thing for our area. Have all of our eggs in one basket. It's scary.
the IHRA seems to be really into no prep right now, so.
I don't know. I've heard some stuff that the whole, like, it's good that somebody's buying these tracks up, the tracks are going to be there, but it sounds like to me that they're going to dictate what events go on there. So say an outside promoter that has nothing to do with the IHRA wants to come in there and do an event, I've heard that they wouldn't be able to. That's the only thing from a promoter standpoint, that's the only downfall that I see of that.
Yeah,
So,
maybe they don't understand or know the kind of racing that we do as well as some of the others, and they'll mess it up, but
we'll see.
we'll see. Time will tell.
Yep.
Well, thank you guys for listening. We will see you next time. Appreciate it. When are we doing the next one? A couple weeks? Week or so?
I don't know.
We should do it weekly.
We need to have a guest on.
Bi-weekly. Maybe we'll have some guests soon.
Yeah. We need to do one with Jeff.
We need to do one with Bob. We need to do one with John Sears. We need to do one with Larry Morgan. We've been
Yeah.
wanting to do that one for a while.
Well, John Sears will be here next weekend, so.
Maybe next weekend we'll do John Sears.
Be
Yeah.
cool. Alrighty.
Thank you guys. See you
Bye.
later.